back to another episode of Wills, Wealth, and Wisdom. I'm Ouida Jones here with my co-host, friend, and legal expert, Cathe Evans-Williams.
Hey, everyone. We are excited you are here. Today's episode might not be the flashiest topic, but trust us, it's one of the most important. What is it? Drum roll. Planning for healthcare decisions.
But. I mean, that's right, seriously, because while none of us like to think about being too sick to speak for ourselves,
right,
the truth is planning ahead can save our loved ones from stress,
it's true,
confusion, and let's be honest, some really awkward family arguments.
No, I mean, it's true. And we are an aging population. You know, if you're listening to me, you're not getting any younger. Okay? Right? And so we are an aging population. And if you've ever tried to get a big family to agree on anything, like even where to order pizza, you can imagine how hard it would be, you know, for them to agree on your major medical decisions.
Oh, man. You just said pizza, my favorite. Now I'm hungry. Okay. All right. So let's save everyone the headache and maybe even a few gray hairs and dive into the healthcare planning essentials. Okay, Cathe, let's start at the top. Why is planning for healthcare decisions in advance so important?
Okay. You know, and I kind of joked about it, but for real, we are all aging. We get older. And as you age, sometimes you deal with health issues. And so it is a possibility that you're going to be in a position where you need somebody else who can speak for you as it relates to your healthcare affairs. So you want to be prepared for that. You want to prepare somebody to handle your medical emergencies, okay, right? Or what if you do become incapacitated? You want to make sure that somebody can handle that for you. And if you have somebody in place, it's going to reduce your stress.
Yeah,
it's going to reduce their stress because they're already going to know what you want them to do. And it ensures that your values and your preferences are honored, not just somebody who doesn't know you, like a judge. And you know, I love all judges. Okay, I'm just saying.
Don't we all, right?
All right. But, you know, they don't know you, right? And so they can't just appoint somebody who might have your best interest at heart, right? Or a guardian, you know, a legal guardian.
Yep.
And so you want to make sure that your values and preferences are honored. That's why it's important to do it now versus, you know, when you actually need it.
There you go. And that makes a lot of sense. Having a plan will give both me and my family
right,
some peace of mind.
Right.
So as I think about this, what documents should people absolutely have when it comes to healthcare planning?
Yeah, so specifically when you're talking about healthcare, you need a healthcare power of attorney. And in the event the quality of your life is more important than staying alive, you need a living will, right? And you also need a HIPAA release, right? So that document that says it's okay for someone to look at your medical records.
Right, yeah, I have that for some of my family members. So yeah, that makes sense. Thanks, Cathe. That sounds like a sort of a starter pack for peace of mind.
Yes.
You know, we just started our football season. It's preseason, so starter pack. I know you guys understand that. We hear about living wills and healthcare powers of attorney. What's the difference between the two?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that because I wanted to elaborate a little bit. So with respect to a living will, that is a document that outlines specific treatment preferences. So for example, I can say the quality of my life is more important than simply staying alive. So that if a doctor believes I have an incurable or irreversible illness or disease and my death is imminent, not, hey, I have this thing that's going to take me out eventually, but my death is imminent, right?
Yeah.
Then I don't want you to give me anything that's going to prolong my natural passing, right? I want comfort care. So that's what a person who wants a living will would say.
Okay.
Right? Now, if you're the person who says, I don't trust these doctors, I want you to do everything and anything for as long as you can.
I know, right? Extend my life.
Extend it, right? Then you don't want a living will. And there's no wrong answer, right? But that's why doing this ahead of time is so important so that people know what you want. So that's what a living will is. The healthcare power of attorney is a bigger document. It is that document that says, if I can't speak for myself regarding my healthcare affairs, I want my agent to do that. So I want my agent to talk to my doctors. I want my agent to determine what kind of treatment I'm going to have. I'm giving my agent the authority to, you know, say whether or not I'm going to donate. Now, there are some, donate my organs or something, right? So there are times when you can do it yourself, right? But if you have not done it for yourself, the bigger document, that healthcare power of attorney, empower somebody to make those decisions for you.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes sense.
Yep. And then let me just say, both of them. Really, you need both of them, right? If the quality of your life is more important than staying alive, then you need that living will and the power of attorney for healthcare.
Okay. Well, that sounds like the dynamic duo of healthcare planning. You need both for full coverage.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I think I got it. All right. And so it sounds like we need to pick the right person for this role. It sounds like that's really important. So what should people look for in their healthcare agent as you refer to?
Yeah. And I mentioned this, before when I talk about picking agents, whether it's for a power of attorney for property or for healthcare, but really, really for healthcare, you want to pick somebody who's good with taking care of your health.
There it is.
Right? And that might be somebody different, right, who is really good at handling your financial affairs. But as it relates to your healthcare, somebody who's there for you, somebody who can communicate with your doctors, somebody who's trustworthy, somebody who's not going to cave under the pressure of you having this, issue that requires them to even step up and handle your affairs, right? So, and it has to be somebody who wants to do it, not someone who begrudgingly wants to.
Yeah, you don't want that person taking care of you. You don't want that.
So somebody who wants to do it, and somebody who's comfortable in medical settings, right? Okay. Like for some of us, I don't want to go to the hospital, right? So if that's that person, you don't want to choose them. Right, you want to choose somebody who's comfortable in medical settings and somebody who can make those hard decisions for you.
You know what? That's good advice. You probably don't want that cousin who faints at the sight of a Band-Aid.
Well, no, not them.
Right. Or, you just got out of jail for embezzlement. Or can't even spell embezzlement, right? Can't even spell embezzlement.
Right, and that would be more like for a power of attorney for property. You don't want them.
No,
right?
You don't want them for that. No.
Right, but the one who faints at the sight of a Band-Aid, or I just don't. My tongue gets tied when I'm talking to a doctor, or that kind of stuff. Not them.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And as I was thinking about it, you might have two different people, as you pointed out.
Right.
And I was thinking it may make sense because do you want the person taking care of you who is also responsible for your money? Because they may have vested interest in you not getting better. I mean, I'm just putting it out there. So just food for thought. Okay, so again, once you've got these documents in place, these power of attorneys and what have you, how often, and we talk about this all the time, but it's so important to emphasize how often should you review and update them?
Yeah, and I like talking about it every time because it is something that should be done. You shouldn't complete your estate plan and then 30 years later, right, after when you first completed it, your children were minors and now, they're 40 years old.
Right, with grandkids and stuff.
So you don't want that kind of time to pass. Yeah. So, anytime there's a major life change, right, that's easy. Right, if I get divorced or if somebody close to me who I have named in my plan passes away, those things. But also just on a regular 3 to 5 years, just kind of take a look. Yeah, just take a look and see if it still applies to you.
Okay. Well, basically, we want to treat it like we're updating our wardrobe. Make sure it fits your life.
That's right.
All right. Well, what kind of conversations should people be having with their families and healthcare agents about these decisions?
Wow, you asked some really good.
Girl, stop playing.
Good questions. Because, this could be one of those daunting things, right? Like, I don't want to talk to my family about what if I get sick, I want you to do this or that. But the reality is that's exactly what you need to do. Okay. And so, you want to just pull them to the side periodically and explain, what you want. What are your values? Do you want to be an organ donor or do you not? Do you want blood transfusions or do you not?
Yeah. Back in the day, that was really important.
Oh, yeah, and even today, right? Because, different religions, have different requirements and different things. So you want to make sure that your family, the people that you want to put in place, and again, it doesn't have to be your family, but whoever you put in place knows your values and they know what kind of preferences you want. You want to talk about who's going to do what. You could have a situation where your youngest child is a nurse.
Right.
And so you want your youngest child to make these decisions for you, and you want your oldest son to know the youngest child is going to make the decisions. And so you would have the conversation with them, about roles and responsibilities.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you want to make sure that everybody knows where your powers of attorneys are.
Hello. Yeah, where that location is. That's really important. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't want to spring this kind of stuff on folks at Thanksgiving dinner, right? Especially while other relatives are looking and listening. Folks are listening.
Look, let me tell you this, though. Sometimes, if you can't get everybody in the room together and you need to have that conversation, Thanksgiving might be the time. Christmas might be the time. Family reunion might be the time. So I'm saying don't sleep on Thanksgiving because everybody's chilling, everybody's there. Most people are taking off work, and so that might just be, I'm going to tell you, my mother, she on Thanksgiving passed out her little folders. This is for you, this is for you, this is for you. Now let's open it up.
I heard that.
And we were all like, wait, what?
Wait, I was here for chicken and turkey.
But that was, she had all of our attention.
You're right.
And she was able to answer any questions that we had. Like, why are you giving her that? Or why are you giving him that?
So did it impact the Thanksgiving dinner though?
I mean, just for an hour.
Okay.
Because then after that, we were all like, time. Exactly, it was family time. And we all knew what was happening. And so when my mom did pass away, it was smooth. All we were was sad. Yeah. But we were not confused.
But you were well organized.
Come on.
All right. Well, you know what? I mean, that really does make sense. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking, you don't want folks to be all upset at Thanksgiving, but you got them together, like you said.
It's true. And then let me just say this. One of her things, and my mom, I mean, she was awesome. She did not want life-sustaining treatment. She was like, if I don't know that I'm here and I can't wake up and know my family and friends and I don't know where I'm at, and that kind of stuff, don't just keep me here. Don't keep paying the doctors. Let me go. And she said that in front of all of us.
There it is.
So it wasn't like one person had to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
We all knew what she wanted, and we were just following her instructions. That's what you put in your power of attorney.
That is an excellent example. And hopefully that will convey to folks, let's do this. Let's get our families involved, what the benefits are of it, and how it can help your family to feel better, just going forward, especially in a time of sorrow. So that was a great example, Cathe. So, having said that, what's the worst case scenario if someone doesn't put these documents in place?
Yeah, I mean, confusion. Yeah. Right? Because, the first thing that a doctor, would say, well, who does anybody, do you have a power of attorney?
Yeah.
Right? And if you don't, then automatically there's something called the Surrogate Act, which says, okay, who's the spouse? Okay. Now, even if that spouse hasn't been in the house for 15 years and they show up to the hospital, they get first call.
Wow.
Right? And then your children. Now, let's say you have two children. Mm-hmm. They have equal say. And maybe one child says, Mama would not have wanted that. And the other child says, that's exactly what Mama would have wanted. Yeah. Now there's confusion.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And so there is a surrogate act that can go into place if you don't have your stuff in order. Also, let's say that you guys start clowning at the hospital. Okay, I'm talking a little bit too much about my experience. But let's say, right, that the doctors don't know what to do. Yep. And they say, I don't know what to do. So now somebody has to go to court to get guardianship.
You could be gone by then.
I mean, it is not a good look. It really can happen. And guardianship is a long process. It's an expensive process. It's not something that you necessarily want to do. So if you don't have your powers of attorney, you can wind up, your family members can wind up having to go to court and get guardianship, and then every year report to the court, how much did you spend? What did you spend it on? How are they doing? To really do an accounting and an annual report. So it can be very difficult on the family members, and you can have family disputes. Again, Mama wouldn't have wanted that. Yes, she would have, right? Yeah. Where if you just put it down in writing, it wouldn't be a problem. And then there could be a lot of delays, like we talked about. If the doctors don't know who to listen to, or one day you're saying this, and the next day somebody else comes in and says that, it's tough. So you risk the good quality care, and you also risk not having your wishes aligned with the actions that are going to happen.
That's true, yeah.
I know that was a mouthful.
But people needed to hear that to understand what the importance is of having it rather than not having it. It's definitely better to plan ahead than leave it up to the court or your relatives, debating like it's a reality TV show or something. What the heck? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, Cathe, I think we've convinced everyone that healthcare planning is not just important, it's urgent.
Right now. Not when you think, not when you need it. It has to be done before you need it.
There you go.
Right. You can't, if you don't know your name or who you are or the bounty of your body, it's too late for you to do a power of attorney for healthcare. So you have to do it now. And, you'll be so glad that you did if the time comes when you actually need it, because you would have been able to think it through when you have the opportunity and choose the right people.
There you go. Yeah, hey, and if you can get your healthcare wishes sorted out, maybe you'll finally be able to win a family debate without hair pulling an ag out. You know how that, especially at Thanksgiving dinner, right?
Right. Exactly. It's so, listen, it really does save stress.
Yeah.
And, it even could keep the family together.
Yeah.
It could, because, think about it. Again, if you're, like in my situation, my mom did not want, extreme measures taken. If she hadn't said that, I know my family members would have been fighting tooth and nail.
Yes, they would have. And not on their own dime.
No, I mean,
that's just how people are. I mean,
right.
I'm not even saying just, I'm saying people will, especially, because I have folks who close to me, same situation.
Yeah.
They were the responsible one, and somebody else wants to make decisions on that person's dime.
It's true.
So,
it's true. And I get it. The love, the love that you have for your loved one, everybody loves them.
Yeah.
Right? Well, in good families, because let me keep it real. I do a lot of work with some families where you could see they're in it just for the money. But in real life, right, if you have a good family, right, they love mom, they love dad, and they don't want to see them go. So you want to put something in place to make sure that if you don't want to be here and not know that you're here, that they all know it.
And that's an excellent point. So if you haven't already, start the conversation today. Don't wait until it's too late.
That's right. All right. And listen, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. We've got plenty more wisdom coming your way.
Plenty. Until then, take care and plan with purpose.
All right. Your hosts today were Ouida Jones, Illinois licensed realtor with HomeSmart Realty Group of Orland Park. You can reach Ouida at ojones.realtor@gmail.com.
And my friend, Cathe Evans-Williams, managing attorney at the Evans-Williams Law Group. You can learn more about her on her website at tewlg.com.
Thanks for joining us on the Wills, Wealth, and Wisdom podcast.
We'll see you next time.